under the show me my screen thing in the upper right hand corner, there's a start recording button.
Dude, I got it now.
Um, you
So
got it,
cool.
brother. All
Yeah.
right, cool. See, I'm not the web go to webinar guy, so don't, like I said, don't put it on me. All right, so I'm about to.
So as Josh is doing that, we have an agenda for the overall office hours, and we have a breakdown of what a successful call for you guys looks like today. What we want to do first is just to give you a brief background on who we are, and jump right into a case study that did really well with Facebook ads, and then go into the onboarding process. A lot of people were asking about the onboarding process, and so we're going to explain how we do it, what kind of mistakes we've made, and how to fix them for yourself. So you got it there, Josh?
Yeah, it should be coming up here in just one sec.
Yep.
Let me know if you
Okay.
guys are seeing it on your end.
It's slowly coming up here, and if my internet does go out, go ahead and run with it. So as this is going, I'll start. I used to charge, like Dave mentioned, 3 years ago, I was trying to sell anything and everything under the sun when it came to online marketing. You wanted a website? I got it. You wanted social media posts? I can do it. You want PPC? Don't worry about it. Like, that was me. And that was because I was hustling, man. Like, I was just trying to figure out what is going on, what is possible, what I'm capable of, and I just wanted to make some money. So in the beginning, I was charging $250 for Facebook ads, but even before that, I was charging like $500 for a website. This is like 3, 4 years ago, and that was just because I was just scared. I didn't know what to charge. I didn't know if I was worth it, and it was all these irrational fears and lack of confidence, really. So I'm on slide 1 there, Josh. I see slide 1.
Yeah, we might pop out of the presentation mode here in a second. Let's see how this goes.
Okay. If you can pop out, it might be easier because it's still lagging
Yeah. Okay.
really hard.
All right. Go ahead.
So, perfect. So, when I did get started with Facebook ads, I was still really nervous. I bought a course by Don Wilson, and he was teaching how to do Facebook ads for T-shirts. And I didn't really even want to do T-shirts. I just wanted to do Facebook ads. And so I used to do Facebook social media posting, except the reach was going down. And I knew if I continued this way, I would not be making money. So I adjusted and started selling Facebook ads. So we started with a random client just wanting to get it out. Their ad budget was $250 a month. Every time I would get a client, I would take the success of that client, go to the next client, and double my prices. So that's the one thing I did, that every time I would get some success, I would keep increasing my prices. The benefit that you guys have working with Dave is he's starting you off right. And he's giving you the confidence on how to pitch and how to set up everything, where I didn't really have that, and I was just trying to figure it out. So for me, what I do now is I charge clients $2,500 to $5,000 a month. Our goal for our agency is how to get 10 clients that are going to be spending $1,000 a day. So we're dollars of advertising spend a day profitably. And so we've done that before. We just haven't set that aggressive goal. So as you can see on the slides now, I've launched hundreds of campaigns along with Josh. We scaled campaigns from 0 to $100 a day, $500 a day, and more, even $750 and sometimes $1,000 a day. But with all these campaigns, there are a lot of challenges. And so today we're going to explain some of the things that are relevant for local. If you're doing local marketing, you're not going to be dealing with $1,000 a day campaigns. It's just not scalable that way. But what we're going to do is show you our best of how to speed up your learning process and how to get better results for local marketing and overall your paid advertising clients when it comes to Facebook ads.
That's
Josh, if
beautiful,
you want to
man.
go next.
That's beautiful. I love that, Nehal. That's cool. And what a cool strategy to like you get results, you create a little bit of a case study over it. I'm sure, whether you're writing it out or just verbalizing it, go double your prices. That's a cool way to do it, man.
Mm-hmm. It takes a little bit of courage, but it's worth it.
Yeah, all the good stuff happens right at the edge of your comfort zone, and again, Nahal always pushes me to the edge of that as well. So that's what good partners do, right? We push each other to that kind of edge, and test each other a lot and give each other a hard time, probably more than we should. But just a little bit about me, really quickly, guys, and I'll make this really brief. But I started my first agency, a classic SEO and website agency, back in 2011, serving you probably never heard of these niches before, but dentists and chiropractors. And then in 2012, it's funny because it's almost the same story as Nahal. I started doing T-shirt stuff just because I'm one of those kind of ADD entrepreneur guys. And in doing that, I immersed myself in Facebook ads and kind of fell in love with the idea of money in versus money out, and being able to create financial models and test things, and be able to get true return on investment if you were able to kind of break the code of Facebook ads. So in 2013, we started, instead of doing all that other stuff, we just said, hey, from here on out, we're a Facebook advertising agency, and that's what we do. In 2015, really focused on retargeting, because we saw the value in that and how that was going to be a big focus for our agency in the future. And so, along with a couple other partners, put out local retargeting blueprint and a software called Target Echo, which it retargets via links rather than pages, and had a really good time with that. And then here in the last several months, partnered with Nahal, and we started Traffic DFY, and been having a great time with that ever since.
Awesome. So in this, in this call, what we want to do is jump right into it. And the next thing we want to show you is what successful Facebook advertising campaigns look like. So this one specifically is about Facebook ads and how to use contests for marketing strategies. So how many of you guys have done any kind of contest or any kind of, first of all, how many of you guys currently sell or do Facebook ads right now? If you can put in the comments there. Jay, I do. Love it.
I do.
Jay. Still learning it. Cool, Michael. Josh, Trent. Offering but haven't got a client yet. Keyword is yet, Mark. Love it. Okay, so definitely a few people on the call already doing it. And what we're going to show you is specifically how to use contests for Facebook ads. And we don't do contests to generate leads. We don't do contests to generate awareness, which campaigns do. We do contests to make money. And that's really important because you'll notice a few sales nuances throughout the whole campaign that are different than the average person who runs contests. The average person, how they run Facebook ads contests is, here's a contest, here's a really crappy image, comment below, we'll announce a winner next week sometimes, maybe. And so that's not a good strategy, and so we'll show you for us. So the first thing is, what was the strategy? So you'll see the contest, we generate a lead, we give them a 5-day trial to a gym, like a 5-day pass, and we ask them to come in person, experience the gym, and sign up. So this was for Madonna's gym in Toronto, and we launched her gym through Facebook ads. They spent significant amount of money through, traditional paid advertising, and it wasn't working, so I was brought in to do Facebook ads, and this was the first time they've ever done Facebook ads. So before starting any campaign, this is the first thing we do. What is a successful campaign? And the first way, before we even get to the successful part, is what is a break-even campaign? So the average transaction for them, a new member, is worth $1,200 a year because it's a $100 a month membership. From there, they wanted to spend $400 to acquire that customer. That's what they were spending in other channels, and if they could spend $400, they were happy, they were ecstatic. So based off that number, what if out of, oh, can you guys still hear me?
We got you.
Okay, I don't know, my screen just left. I don't know if it's Josh. Josh, are you still there?
Is it back? It's back for us now.
Yep, it's back for us. Me too. Okay, cool. So
Sorry,
what if, No problem. So if the cost of acquisition is $400 and we have 1% conversion rate from all the leads we generate, and we generate 100 leads, the max we can pay per lead is $4. Does that make sense? So working from the bottom up, if we pay $4 per lead and we generate 100 leads, we just need to close 1% of those 100 leads, which is one lead. That would be $400 for the cost of acquisition, and that would generate $1,200. So does that make sense? I just want to make sure. Yes, perfect. Okay, so this number is super important, not for only you guys, because you have to explain these numbers to your clients, but they need to get them completely. And if they don't understand the benefits and the huge milestone of a break-even campaign, they don't understand paid advertising, and they won't understand anything that you say after this fact. So a lot of the times in a sales call, we just stop the sales call here if they don't get it. What we should say is like, listen, you don't spend money on marketing, you don't understand buying customers, because you're not doing that now, and because you don't understand the necessity to buy your customers and buy leads and buy traffic, we're not a good fit. Stop the call right there. But usually what happens is like, whoa, 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 hold on a second, explain to me what you're talking about here. So this is a really important from a sales standpoint. As soon as you go into numbers, you'll do something that most PPC agencies won't ever talk about, which is financial modeling. So now, what if instead of 1% of leads convert, 2% of leads convert? So if you go to the next slide, you'll see if 2% of leads convert, we can spend up to $8 per lead to still hit our number. But what if only half the leads convert? Then that means we can only spend $2 per lead, and that makes it really difficult for us to do our marketing. So again, those are the numbers that we go through, and we do the financial modeling before we speak to the clients. Before moving on, I just want to make sure if you guys have any questions about that financial model, you ask that now.
Yeah, guys, and
Anyone have any
be asking questions throughout this deal. We'll kind of keep stopping, doing some Q&A, and also save a bunch for the end here. But yeah, keep asking.
Okay, love it. Cool, Michael's got it.
So yeah, I was just going to say again, this financial modeling stuff, as you're going through like a webinar with us talking about this, isn't the most exciting, sexy stuff in the world. but like Nahal said, nobody else is doing this. Nobody else is talking these numbers in front of a client. And anytime you can set yourself apart from the pack as an agency owner, or your salespeople can do that if you have that model, it's really, really powerful. And there's some fancy software out there that does this, but ultimately, if you just have a piece of paper or a spreadsheet, you can really get some good information. So I highly recommend you do this when applicable.
So Trent asked a good question. So to be clear, clients are providing average revenue per transaction and target cost of acquisition. This is a really important question because I've sold a lot of paid advertising deals, and what happens is people don't know what their average client transactions are. People don't know what their most successful products are, and they definitely don't know what their current cost of acquisition is, or even what their break-even acquisition is. So when you're asking these questions and you're positioning all of this different math in front of them, they're going to be like, holy shit, this guy is a numbers guy, or this chick, this woman understands numbers, and before they even spent $1, they're asking me all these tough questions. The last guy didn't do that. Right? So when you're asking these questions, this actually helps your sale because they're like, oh man, I don't know those numbers. What should my cost of acquisition be as a dentist? What should my average revenue be? And so you start asking those questions, and that becomes very powerful. And Jason mentioned lifetime value of a customer. That depends on the business because even, Josh, if you go up to average transaction, you'll see it's $1,200. What that doesn't include is a renewal on that membership. What that also doesn't include is personal training or massage therapy or any of the additional benefits. So the lifetime value is actually 2 to 3 times that. But for this purposes, I wanted to keep it simple and just do the immediate value. And can you go through the chart again? Sean, would you like the explanation again? Just want to make sure. Awesome, Jason. Okay, cool. Yeah, so just to see those numbers again, for them, the break-even point is if they can get $4 per lead, 100 leads as their for $400, and they convert 1%, they're happy. Those are the numbers. So again, that conversion rate is not landing page conversion rate or number of people they speak to. This is how many people come into the marketing funnel and how many people buy. Okay, perfect. I'm glad everyone's got it. So now to the sexy part. So what does the actual campaign look like? So please respect the client details. Please don't reach out to this client. I'm showing you a lot of details, and Josh and I have worked on this campaign. We just want you to be respectful of it. But you can go ahead and swipe this. That's why we're showing it. So if you go to the next slide, this is what the actual Facebook ad looks like. So want to finally get the body you deserve? Enter your chance to win 10 personal training sessions with a hard candy fitness trainer and a 90-day gym. So this was a while ago. We can't do click here to enter or tag someone to enter anymore. But I want you to focus on a few moving parts. One, let's work from the top down. There's 10 personal training sessions. That is something of value. There's 90-day gym membership. And so we're giving them 3 months pass, which is worth $300. But everyone who enters something, and that winning essentially is the 5-day pass. So the reason that's important is because when the salesperson calls them, they're not calling and saying, hey, do you want to come in and buy our $100 a month membership? The difference is they're calling and saying, hey, do you want to come in for your 5-day pass before it expires? And so does it actually expire? No, it's false scarcity. But because they entered and there's an autoresponder that says this has been 5 days now, there's they're creating the environment of that 5-day pass is expiring. So next, we have a really good photo. It's branded. I personally wouldn't have gone this branded. It's a little bit intense, but they're very particular about their brand. And we say Hard Candy Fitness giveaway and reiterate what that says. So Josh, if you want to explain the funnel. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Sorry guys, I unmuted myself here. Yeah, so basically they click on the ad. And again, just to reiterate, once we started offering what we call the consolation prize, which is that everybody's a winner prize, the actual conversions for the sales and the number of people who actually clicked through and signed up had a huge jump, as you can imagine. So when people click on the ad itself, it takes them to this page, which is actually a standalone squeeze page for the contest. And what we have here, we sometimes are using the same image for this and the next page, but basically it's just a call to action, calling out the giveaway, telling people what they get. So again, we're reiterating the 10 personal training steps, the gym membership. Each person who enters also automatically wins a 5-day pass, and then we want people to fill out their details. Now something really, I wish I was the guy that thought of this, but this is something that Nahal figured out, was in the past when I was doing these funnels, we were just doing enter your name and email if it was something that we had a really good follow-up sequence on, or we were doing name, email, and phone number. Nahal took it to the next level. He asked for name, email, and cell phone, which is smart. And then he also, but the smartest thing I think was he asked for an identifier, or an interest point is what we call them. And basically it was saying, what's your favorite workout? For each of your local clients, you can think of something that would be of value in a lead, but also just gets people to just give them a little bit more information about themselves. So in this case, it was a favorite workout. When people called, they could say, hey, I understand that, this CrossFit thing, or this yoga is your favorite workout, or whatever it might be. When it's a local business that has several different service offerings, it might be like, what service offering are you interested in? And there's a drop down with several choices. And then at that point, of course, there's the scarcity at the bottom. Typically, with Madonna's gym, Nahal went a little crazy with the time base, because typically we're showing 30 or less days here, so there is kind of that countdown scarcity. But in this case, it was a longer-term campaign. Do you want to say anything about that, Nahal?
Yeah, so we're going to talk right now. Yeah, so
Okay.
right after this, we're going to talk about the overall sales process. But just to add to that qualifier has made my clients so much money because we ask them if they're interested in that service. So when we do this for others, we asked, are you interested in getting a massage? Yes or no. Are you interested in some teeth removal? Yes or no. And so they're telling you if they're ready for the sale. What we did here also in a secondary version of this, we asked, do you have a gym membership? And 58% of the people entering the contest or entering a different type of promotion said, I don't have a gym membership. So when half the people entering your information or coming to your gym and expressing interest don't have a gym membership, that's like heaven for a salesperson.
Candy. Yeah, that's candy. Yeah. Definitely. And so with this, then when people click to enter, this is kind of where the magic happens. This is the viral aspect of it. There is, I call it raffle tickets, but basically you get this secondary share page. The share page allows you to get more entries. So in this case, you can in our platform you can set how many entries you want, but you can invite your friends by email to get up to 44 more entries. And the first stage of that is emailing a friend. And so this works really well, even with local. Sometimes we'll actually even say like, invite 3 local friends to come work out with you or something like that. But what happens is when people enter the emails, there's an autoresponder sequence that goes out to those people saying, hey, I just entered this contest, thought you might be interested. Here's a link to it. Check it out. It's automatically set up through the system. There's also the opportunity then to get 10 more chances to win by doing social sharing. And so you can either recommend or share via Facebook, you can tweet it. In some cases, we do stuff like Pinterest and stuff like that. You can also like the page direct from here. So it just kind of as a fringe benefit, we get a lot of page likes for our clients. I'm surprised how many people like the page through this system. So then when somebody actually does click share, this is what you see. I just entered the Hard Candy Fitness Toronto giveaway or something to that effect, and then when somebody else clicks on that, they're then brought in. And so it gives you a really cool multiplier of your ads. And let me head on down to this next section where it shows some of the results. So this screen actually shows the process, and the reason that this screen is so critical is it actually shows from on a 14-day campaign what most people are doing is they're doing a Facebook ad, they get the opt-in, they might or might not email to the referrals and do social referrals, but it stops there. And where the real money is here is in this very last piece. So someone sees the ad, they opt in, they do email referrals and get more people in, they do social referrals and get more people in, but where the money is made is in the 7-day follow-up. And so we use different CRM systems or autoresponder systems, sometimes in concert with our clients, and sometimes they have their own setup. But we always consult with them to do a 7-day follow-up where it's kind of like that chase sequence. It's a phone call, that's emails. There might be a secondary phone call and then another email that goes out. But it's basically a gain, logic, fear type of email sequence, and that is where sales are made. And if you're not doing that if they don't have a sales team, if they don't have processes in place to do that, you're going to have a much different results-driven outcome than if you do consult with them on this last part. We don't work with people unless they're willing to do this last part, and really unless they're willing to do it the right way. And that's where the consulting truly comes in. Do you want to add anything to that, Nahal?
Yeah, you just dropped game logic fear and just kept going. You gotta explain that one because that's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
important.
Okay, cool. So game logic fear, I think the first time I heard of that type of campaign was from Ryan Dice, but I think like good marketers, he probably got it from some smart guys too. But basically, it's a 3-part email series sequence where the first part is like, hey, this is what you get. Like, look at this amazing thing that you'll get. And it's kind of just presenting it like, of course you want this, and here's how you can get it. The second part of logic goes to the part of the brain that's kind of the more thinking man's part of the brain, less of the kind of impulsive lizard brain guy. And that guy, the logic side is really just saying, hey, I'm actually a lot of people have already gotten this, and I'm kind of surprised you haven't taken advantage of it too. Clearly you wanted it, clearly you signed up for this thing, and this 5-day pass is is yours to claim, I'm kind of surprised you're going to let it slip away. And then, of course, the fear is like the full court press of urgent. You're going to lose your free 5-day pass, or these are any type of limitation or urgency, scarcity that you can put on it. That's that last part. And so typically that happens over a 4 to 5 day period. And this type of 7-day follow-up starts with a phone call and then almost ends with a phone call. We send one last kind of follow-up email on the back end. But that, in a nutshell, is Game Logic Fear.
So to that point, you'd be surprised of how many people we've generated leads for. I have one client that we've literally generated 1,000 leads over, say, 6 months in a local market, which is a lot of leads. And I found out that they don't call most of them. And on top of that, they have 8 locations, and out of 8 locations, over 21 different people can call that person. They don't have systematic sales scripts or ways to manage the prospect after the lead is generated. So, and then they came back to me and said, your leads don't work. So is it a Facebook ad or a landing page problem or a conversion problem from an online standpoint, or is it the sales conversion issue to convert that lead into a client? So it has to be very clear on who's responsible for what and where the baton is passed. Because if we were to generate the lead, call the lead, close the lead, I would start my own gym. So that's not our responsibility. So we are very, very clear on what that is, what our responsibility is, and what it is not. And that's going to be the difference between your agency making money and you scrambling just to make ends meet. So that's been a really hard process for us. But with all this said, what happens is we have this Facebook ad, we generate the lead, we ask for referrals via email and social, and then the client follows up. So the bottom line is, show me the money. What happened? So this was our initial projection. Again, $1,200 for transaction value, $400 is break even. So these are our results. For our for a 10-day, 14-day campaign, we had over 10 closes come in. So those 10 closes generated $12,000. And here's how we did it. If you look at the bottom, we spent $500 in ad spend. All right. Instead of generating $4, actually generated $1 per lead because the contest went viral a little bit, and I'll show you, or Josh will show you the numbers. So instead of $4 per lead, it was $1 a lead. So automatically 75% savings. Then instead of converting 1%, they converted 2.5% of contest leads. So just from an ad spend standpoint, they closed 10 people. We spent $500. So 500 divided by 10 is $50 in ad spend to generate $1,200. Okay, our management fee was $1,000 at that point. So if you look at this overall system, I would be happy if we spend $1 and they generate $2 of margin, right? For us, that's awesome. But there's so many other benefits to that as well. So we'll show you how we generated $1 per lead and how to reduce that cost per lead when you're doing contest campaigns. So if you want to go to the next slide there, Josh.
Yeah, so this is actually our reporting slide for that contest. And so when we're talking about these contests, there's kind of 2 levels. And so if you look at the middle section here, the blue section, these are all of our direct conversions, our direct visitors, and then how many people actually became leads. And so we based on that ad spend, we had 949 people who clicked through and looked at the contest. 31% of them converted, so we had 295 people convert. Where it gets really, where we really get the leverage on these contests is this bottom kind of green section here. What happened was, out of these 295 people, they actually created 860 visitors, so almost the same amount of visitors from the initial one. And typically, these referred visits don't convert quite as well as the initial, but we actually got 126 leads from these conversions. So we were paying $1 per lead, so this would have cost us an additional $126. Or another way to look at it is we got 126 leads free. Or even another way to look at it, if you want to present it to your clients, one way is these 126 free clients lowered our cost per lead from X dollars to Y dollars, whatever that is. And
There's so many ways to show this, you know? And so what Josh is giving you right now is like an arsenal of your sales scripts. Choose the right one for you, right?
yeah,
So
absolutely.
like my favorite one is saying, you see that 295 lead number? Those 295 people generated an additional 860 visitors to your campaign. If we paid for those 860 visits, which we pay $1 to $1.50 per website click, they just saved you $860 minimum on your campaigns. But not only did they save you that money, they also brought 126 leads for you for free. And so that, keep going.
Oops,
Yeah, yeah.
sorry, did I lose you?
Nope, keep going.
There you go.
So beyond the actual contest domination side and the lead gen side, there's a lot of invisible benefits to this campaign. So first is that ad was shown to about 70,000 people, and when I was mentioning it at conferences or when I would randomly drop it, people were like, "Oh man, that was you!" Like there's so many people who saw that ad locally in Toronto. But beyond the initial 10 sales, they have a list now of 421 people who are now interested in that gym because they entered their name, their cell phone, their email, and if they have a gym membership or what their favorite workout is. So it's now the gym's responsibility to follow up and nurture those leads. And then this is a predictable campaign that they can launch over and over again. I personally don't want a green campaign because we don't want to just keep giving away passes. So we have a whole ecosystem when we work with clients of different campaigns we rotate so people don't get ad fatigue and they don't get offer fatigue.
Yeah, one other thing
That
I wanted
help,
to bring
Dave?
up here. Oh, sorry,
Yeah, go.
talked over you there. One other quick thing I just wanted to bring up here too that we didn't put in this slide was out of the almost 2,000 people that landed on the page based on retargeting that we set up and conversion tracking that we set up. We also created an additional asset of close to 1,500 people that were on retargeting that we could put other offers or this offer again in front of. And so that's a pretty powerful asset to create for a client as well.
Love it,
Love it.
guys. This is great. This is really great stuff. Any questions about this campaign so far? I mean, I know we're about to dive into a bunch of the Q&A, but I mean, this is really great. So, what would be the, I guess as you think about this, I'm trying to put myself in their position here. Would this type of thing work for niches outside of gyms? Just again, maybe not this exact thing, but like as you think about contests, you think about kind of this framework for your thought process here. Are there other niches that come to mind, or other types of businesses that come to mind that this would work well for?
Oh, we might have lost Nahal here. Yeah, in a slide that we're going to go over here in a second, we talk about a lot of the kind of prime, kind of low-hanging fruit that you guys can look at for these types of contests. But the funny thing is I'm such a proponent of these that I've been able to do it for all kinds of things that you would never think contests for. One example that we just did the other day was a tire store, local tire store. We did a contest where we're giving away 4 free tires based on specific brands, and then for everybody who entered, they get a voucher for buy 3 get 1 free. I'm sorry, buy 2 get 2 free. And so it's a pretty significant deal for people who need tires. And the thing just blew up. I was a little concerned when we hit go on it because I'm like, this is a fairly blue collar transactional thing, buying tires for your ride. But the thing just absolutely blew up. And if we had just done a direct offer, which we still do for these guys because we can't run, or in certain cases you don't want to run contests into perpetuity. But if we were just to run like a, hey, get a discount off tires, or buy 3 get 1 free, or any other type of direct offer, we still would get leads, but nothing like what we're getting for these guys. And so I would challenge you guys to think, even we've done contests for orthodontists, we've done contests for landscape architects, and so if it's a home services, there's definitely going to be some things that you don't want to, you don't want to do a contest for a funeral home probably, but but for the most part, I bet you can find some cool stuff, some cool ideas if you really think it out, where you can create a contest. But again, I would consider, not trying to force something if it's not there too.
Gotcha, dude. That's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. We can keep rolling into the FAQ and other slides you guys got here.
Cool. Did we lose Nahal? Nahal, are you around?
Nope, I'm here.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure we didn't lose you. All right. Are you taking it from here, brother?
Yeah, for sure. So we just wanted to go through briefly over any FAQs. So these are just get asked a lot when it comes to Facebook ad campaigns, and then we're going to go into the onboarding process on how to onboard clients successfully, and then we'll go into the Q&A. Is that cool, Dave?
Dude, I love that, man.
Awesome. So what kind of offers work the best? So this can be for contests, but it can also be just ideas for front-end offers. So for personal training, for overall contest offers, we have given away personal training, we've given away spa packages, dinner for two, teeth cleaning, oil changes. Depending on the type of business it is, if it's like a tourism style business, you can give away hotel rooms, and there are ways to target people who are visiting or about to visit an area, if like there are neighboring cities that people visit, for example. And we've also done B2B campaigns. So we've given away mobile websites, for example, and then used that to get into sales conversations as well. So there are a lot of different offers. We're just trying to get your mind going on what is possible. The main thing that we look at when we're looking at these type of offers is what is the lifetime value of that specific customer? How much can you pay to break even? You'd be surprised how many offers that are out there that people don't really want. So when you're creating your offer, you want to really think through, like, is this something people want? And when you're doing contests specifically, the worst thing you can do to give away is to give away an iPad, because everyone is giving away an iPad and no one really cares about your business. They just want the freaking iPad. Whereas if you're giving away a 3-month membership and 10 personal training sessions, they're interested in winning that. That's why they're entering. For each audience, we look at how large the audience is, and we can discuss numbers there, and does the financial model work? So those are a little on the offers. I know we're running really short on time. What we should do is just jump into the onboarding part, Josh. So onboarding a client. So you'll see here, this is how we bring on new clients, and this is one of the primary points in a client relationship that can either make or break your relationship. And the reason we can say that is because we've broken a lot of relationships, so we've learned the hard way. So I want to make sure that we're saving you a lot of time and money through this process, and we'll break down the onboarding process that has helped us be very successful. So for the onboarding, the first few moments, in terms of first few communications, that is how you establish communication channels. So what channel are they most responsive on? Is it email, phone, text, Facebook chat? Do they like Skype? Like, what is it? Or if you're working primarily with local businesses, just call me, dude. That's the way they think. It's just pick up the phone and call me. For other people, I have a lot of my clients that their prime way of communication with me is Facebook chat. So it really depends, and depending on how your business operates, you want to make sure you're adjusting that so you're not a bottleneck, or you want to make sure that the communication lines are clear. Next is, on that first call, you want to get context on their business. What's working in their business? What's not working? What are offers that have worked? All you want to do is get in so much information that you can figure out what is something that's useful and what's not. So we ask so many probing questions just to get them talking. And then they'll say, you know what? We tried this one thing that one time, and that worked really well. And then, that can start a conversation. So you want to get context in their business. Next is you want to set expectations. The expectation I set is stuff is going to suck for you in the first 90 days. Is that okay? And we're usually talking about this in the sales call, not even in the onboarding, but we reiterate it. Like, listen, we're going to spend $50 a day, $20 a day, $30, whatever it is. And you're not going to get clients right away. You're not going to get leads right away. We have to figure it out. And so I just need you to be patient, and I'll tell you everything we're doing on our side, and we're going to work together on this as a team. And so that expectation setting is really, really important. Next, we set goals. So what would be a milestone to help you know that this campaign is successful? Like, what would be a milestone along the way? So what is your break-even point, for example? And then we also figure out, cool, now that you're making money, what would be a successful campaign for you? So we go through that process. And we ask them, okay, you have that successful campaign, then what happens? Are you able to hire more people? Are you able to buy more equipment? Like, are you able to open a new office? Like, what does that do for your business? And now you're emotionally engaging them, and that's where they become more invested. Our focus in our agency right now is working with clients that are spending $1,000 a day, and that is an intense goal for most people, because for a lot of people, that's how much they want to start spending a month. And so I've been able to positively manipulate people to get them outside of their comfort zone, scare the shit out of them, and then get them excited to start spending and thinking of how to spend $1,000 a day. So that doesn't happen if you're not confident. That doesn't happen if you're not experienced, and that definitely doesn't happen if you haven't done it before. So you have to go through that process logically, and once you get there, then you can talk the talk and then walk it. After that, we get access to any assets, so we'll break down what those are. We create those assets, and then once we've created and compiled everything, we present what we did. So Josh, if you want to go through the checklist of what we ask and why.
All right, great. So a lot of this stuff might be pretty.
Quick.
Oh yeah.
Real quick, any questions about what they did there, why he asked the questions he did, common objections, anything like that you guys have as Nehal is interacting with the client on that?
We're keeping an eye here on the chat.
Yeah, cool. Keep rolling.
How do you scare the
How
shit?
do you scare the shit out of class?
I like, really quickly, just to speak to that, because I kind of wanted to jump in there, and then I'll let you answer that question a whole bit.
Yeah.
I love how you said positively manipulate too. I think that's called sales. But the scaring the shit part, I think, is more about setting the expectation that when we hit go on these campaigns, life might not change immediately for them. And what I use, and I think Nahal's used this before too, is we talk about the initial 90 days. We're investing in the data. We're actually doing a data investment. We're modeling our stuff to learn about their market, to learn about our targeting, to optimize and season the pixel, all these things that are kind of getting the train out of the station. And so last thing you want to get early on is upset phone calls from your client saying, hey, I thought life was going to be all rainbows and kittens, and this is actually some hard work. That said, we've gotten really good at this, and we actually do start to show results pretty quickly for these guys, but it's all about setting the expectation in a positive way so that you're not putting yourself in a bad situation right off the bat. But I'll let you go ahead and finish that question.
And to speak to that too, like I totally agree. Like I found that with clients, again, like they'll follow whatever expectation you set, and the temptation is to really overpromise there. When in fact they didn't even need to be overpromised. You could have told them, worst case scenario, and they would have been fine. And so I found like if you say, hey, we're going to talk once a week or once every 2 weeks or once a month or whatever, they're fine with whatever. It's just when you start acting outside of the expectations that you set on the front end that they start to get worried. And so set those carefully and set those, under promising and over delivering, on the front end, and you'll be good. The clients will be very happy.
To that point, campaigns don't always work, and so we just onboarded a client that we got from another agency. So when we're speaking to that agency, I told them straight up in that first meeting, we're going to jump into this campaign. We're going to do our best to make sure that we convert it and make it way better than what's going on. But it's really important for you to understand that the campaign might suck right away, and it might not do the numbers that it's already doing. Why? Because that agency has been running your campaign for 4 months. They have 4 months of $1,000 a month of data. So they have $4,000 more of data than us, than our brand new account. And what happened was on the first day, Josh launched the campaign and we got 7 leads at half of the cost of what the other agency was doing. And we were feeling like badasses and we were like, yeah, we know our shit. The next day we generated 1 lead and it was just crickets. It was quiet. And then the next day we generated 2 more leads instead of the first 6 that we launched. And the client didn't freak out. And the client didn't freak out because we set the expectation in the beginning that it's not going to be perfect. And in the beginning when I was bringing on clients, and Josh I'm sure had the same thing, which is we would freak out and the client would smell it. They could sense it. As soon as you're talking, you're stuttering and fumbling over yourself. You're like, I'll fix it. It's like, no, like this is going to happen. We already anticipated and accepted this. Don't worry, our team is on it. There's a big difference between, I'm sorry, like we'll get on it, sir, to no, don't worry, we got it, we're on it. You see the difference? So that's first thing. And then the scare the shit out of clients is more on our side right now. There's Traffic Done For You, where we're working with other agencies, and there's Amplify, which is my agency specifically, where we're working with high growth entrepreneurs and business owners, and to scare the shit out of them, and I need to test them in our sales call is, are they willing to spend $1,000 a day? Are they willing to push past their comfort zones and spend $500 a day or $1,000 a day and get there? Because a lot of people say they are, except they don't walk it. They don't walk the walk. So I really am trying to test if they're going to do it. In your situation, if you're doing smaller campaigns of $20, $30, $50, even $100 a day, what you just want to do is figure out, is that entrepreneur comfortable with spending money and breaking even? Is that entrepreneur comfortable with spending money and not making any money for a week or 2 weeks? Like, is that going to freak them out? And it's just a test to see if they're going to ruin your life and be a living hell, or are they going to be a pleasure to work with and work with you to make the campaign stronger? Does that help, Trent? Mark asked, do you have a list of specific questions, probing questions you ask when getting context? Okay, awesome, Trent. When it comes to questions for probing, Dave, maybe we can send you a few of those. We have categories that we go through, and what we do is the whole time we're interviewing them. This is really important from a sales standpoint. They're not interviewing us, we're interviewing them. And as soon as they try to interview me, I answer that question with authority and then get right back at them, and I have 3 to 5 questions lined up so they don't even have a moment to think about questions to try to, break me. I don't let clients break me, but more important than that, I've had a lot of these sales calls, and when clients do ask asshole-ish questions, I just created that word, I come back with a similar stern response, and then I go into my line of questioning. So when it comes to those probing questions, we ask everything. If you want to make notes here, we ask everything from the strategy. The first we start is, what campaigns have worked for you in the past? Because we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We want to take what's worked and just take it online. The 5-day pass thing is not a new concept. It's been there forever. Instead of signing up at Subway or at a coffee shop or at a random convenience store, you're signing up on Facebook. So it became sexy again, right? So all we did was we took it to a different channel. But what we want to know is, what other campaigns have already worked? Why would we spend your money and lose your money when we already know that campaigns have worked for you? So that's where we start first. Then we go right into the numbers. What are your most successful services? What are the services or the products that have the most margins? What are products or services that are good front-end services or products to get people in? Because a 5-day pass is going to get you in, but if we said buy our $100 a month membership, you're not going to get good response. People are going to look at that and then keep walking, keep scrolling. So we go in terms of just blocks. First thing we do, what are successful campaigns? Then we look at their numbers and we ask for what break-even campaigns are, what successful campaigns would be. Then the next thing that we go into is who their ideal prospect is. Who do they want? What does that person look like, talk like? What's their age and gender? We ask a lot of psychographic information on who they are in terms of what they watch, what they consume in terms of content or media. Then what we're looking for is what are the offers that they want to run with, or what are different offers that they can run with. And so we talk about front-end offers, we talk about copy and imagery and sales angles and all of that, but a lot of this is sometimes in the sales process, sometimes in the onboarding, usually in the onboarding process. But in the sales process, we can give you some of those questions to start probing. My goal is just to figure out, are they worthy of even getting to an actual meeting and a proposal? That's what I want to do, right? So if you're selling in one niche, what happens is you know your list of questioning to know if these guys are even worthy of working with you. That's a big difference between can I sell them versus are they willing, are they even like worthy? Do they live up to our standards of our agency for us to? So Dave, we'll coordinate with you and get you guys a few questions.
Yeah, man. Yeah, any questions you had like that, you can get over to us, or even like this checklist, instead of just for the sake of time, instead of kind of going through it all, if you wanted to share that with us too, that would be sweet.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll run through this really quickly with you guys because some of this stuff is pretty common sense. One thing that I will say, it's not necessarily the checklist, it's more the process around the checklist that's important. We're big fans of of operational playbooks and of systemizing all of your processes. And so when it comes to our in a couple of books I'd recommend to you guys, we love, or at least I love, I won't speak for Nahal, but Work the System is one that I've read recently that I thought was really good around this, and the 12-week year is another one that I really like. But as it pertains to our checklist, this is the information we want to know. Most importantly, company name and website and all that obvious, but when we're getting access to people's Facebook accounts, especially using Business Manager, it's very important that we get admin access to their pages and to their ad accounts, and a lot of people miss this, and so there's a lot of stumbling in the onboarding process. And one thing, one of the biggest things that can really bog you down in the mud is getting stuck in your process when you're onboarding a new client. And so we've created several different intake forms online. We have processes where we follow up based on when the intake forms are brought in. But we've also created several videos around, here's the step-by-step of how you give somebody access to your Facebook page as an administrator, how to give somebody access to your ads account as an administrator through Facebook Business Manager, those types of things. And then, of course, make sure you have credit card authorization. You want to be able to collect money right at go. Marketing assets, it's great to have like a shared Dropbox folder or something like that. Copy assets, we want to know, last thing you want to do is go through all the time of creating all these creatives and then have them come back and say, well, that's not our color and that's not our tagline and that's not our, that isn't the nomenclature we use for our thing. We're working with somebody who doesn't want to be called a gym, but they want to be called a fitness studio, something like that. So it's really important to get that information as well. Are we creating landing? Yeah, go ahead.
Before you move forward, can you explain what a...
Oh, you cut out there on me. What was that again?
Can you explain what a business manager is?
Yeah, sorry guys. I make some broad assumptions sometimes. So a business manager is the new overarching account that Facebook really wants anybody that's doing ads for their business to use. And so there's kind of this mass migration. I recommend that if you are not using Business Manager, to sign up for a Business Manager for a couple reasons. One, it's really easy to manage teams and clients through Business Manager compared to just a standalone ad account. And second, it's also what Facebook wants you to do. And I've learned to go with the flow as it applies to Facebook and not try to fight against the current. And so there's going to be benefits beyond just the obvious using Facebook Business Manager. But if you go to business.facebook.com, it'll walk you through a very easy, I think it's like a 4-step process to set up your Business Manager, and then you go claim your page and your account. And they're very motivated to get you to do that, so they really make it easy, more so than most things. And so is that a good enough overview? I think Michael had a question there. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And so, and again, if there's anything that I say, I'm happy to stop and go back and go over it. Landing pages, yes or no? Oftentimes, we want to create the landing pages for several different reasons. We don't want to slow down the process by not having access to websites and stuff like that. So we have several templates that we've created inside of things like lead pages or ClickFunnels, links to landing pages if they want us to use their landing page, funnel description, meaning just if they could do a walkthrough. We have a couple cool tools that we use to model our funnels from a visual standpoint with our clients. And then what's the front end offer? What are the launch dates, or what's the expectations around that? And then we can edit as needed. Is it a local or national campaign? That's going to affect a lot of what our targeting is going to be effective, and also what we're going to expect our average cost per click to be. It's depending on there's always exceptions to the rule, but typically national is a much lower cost per click than local. What's the starting budget? What's the goal per lead? What's the goal per appointment? What's that break-even point? All those are based on our financial modeling that we went through with you guys. And then what's a successful campaign look like? And then I also like to kind of get a little bit, put a little bit of an emotional connection and ask them, from a success, once we have successful campaigns, what's that going to mean for their business? So there is just that kind of emotional kind of connection that they have to what a successful campaign is going to be for them. And then like Nahal was talking about, what's the avatar? What's their ideal client look like? Age, gender, location, psychographics. Sometimes these guys have really good grasps, especially in fitness. It seems like who their people are. It's moms between 28 and 44 who like to go to Whole Foods or something like that. And then we'll take that. We'll take that into consideration, and then we have some pretty in-depth targeting strategies that we use. And then what angles would attract them, what images would grab their attention. A lot of these business owners, they've thought about this stuff, and some of them are kind of amateur marketers in their own right, and so they like to talk to you about this stuff, and they'll get you stuff that's...
Oh, I don't know if we lost Josh there. Can you hear me, Dave?
I got you, right.
Did I go away?
Yeah, a little bit.
Sorry, guys. So yeah, I was just going to say they tell us what images work, and sometimes more importantly, what images don't work. And so yeah, I'll go ahead and leave it at that.
Yeah, and to that point, what we have is this onboarding process. Dave mentioned that the onboarding process overall has been a challenge for a lot of the agencies, and so Dave asked us to come on and present just what our onboarding process is, how we've launched hundreds of campaigns, and what the most successful way of managing that process is. So what we wanted to do was just give you a little bit background on who we are in terms of the traffic done for you side. So a quick overview is...
Real quick,
oh, yeah,
Nahal, just so you guys know, I was kind of talking with Nahal the other day, and kind of twisted his arm, I feel like, a little bit to bring him in to do this, and really what I was kind of lobbying for was that he would be able to work with a couple of you guys, and so yeah, I kind of asked him just to share, hey man, like what would you guys need to have in place, or what kind of clients do you guys need to have in order to work with these guys here? I mean, obviously, these guys are doing really awesome. It'd be a total dream to work with them. I know. As he's handled our campaigns, it's been awesome. So, yeah, that's kind of what I asked him to do here was kind of explain, what do I like to work with them, and really, I'd hope that a couple of you guys could do something with Nahal here. So, yeah, man, I just want to give a little preface to that.
Yeah, for sure. And Dave and we've been going back and forth, and he reached out to me and said, listen, man, we have this one campaign, it's working, we have 2 more clients ready, we just need your help. So we jumped on, and instead of our normal $2,500 per month or more, usually he twisted my arm, and we brought it down to about 1/3 the cost. So Dave beat me up big time. But with that said, what we started talking about was how to work with a few of you guys when it comes to scaling your agencies. So all you can worry about is all you can focus on is selling, because you don't need to be the Facebook ads experts. That's why we're here. So if there are opportunities, or if there's anyone who is interested in a Facebook ads fulfillment solution, that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about briefly, and then we'll jump into the Q&A. So we have a white label Facebook campaign fulfillment agency. What that pretty much means is you guys as an agency sell the client, you pass the baton over to us with our onboarding process, so we support you on that. And what happens is we create all the assets, we create the campaign, we create the whole Facebook ad setup, and we launch it for you, and we report. Everything is white label. We don't communicate with your clients. It's all systemized, so all you focus on is selling and communicating to your client. We do the Facebook ads from start to finish. So we've worked with a lot of different types of agencies. One agency we have right now, they have over 100 clients and in the medical space, and so they're slowly onboarding their own clients, and what we're doing for them is we're systemizing their campaigns as well as creating ecosystems for each one of their four niches that they have. And so that's been really powerful for us when it comes to direct to offer campaign, lead gen campaigns, awareness campaigns, and contest campaigns. So we innovate with our partners, and the main thing is we systemize other people's agencies so to make sure that you guys run very smoothly and we run very smoothly. So on the next slide, what we'd like to do is we'd like to work with a handful of you guys who are interested in taking your agency to 10 clients or more. Underneath that, it's very difficult for us to work with agencies because the clients are all over the place and they're in 7 different niches with 8 different clients, and that makes it a challenge. But for agencies who are focused in 1 to 3 niches, what we want to do is help you one-on-one. So Dave, asked us to explain some of the stuff we're doing, so we thought, what is the most powerful thing that we can do for you to help you get started, whether we work with you or not? So Josh and I sat down and we're like, okay, here, if I was in your position, what would I want? So I would want someone to sit down with me, walk me through of what a successful onboarding process is, how to pass that over to either our team or to your own team. It doesn't matter. We just want to help you. How to onboard new clients successfully, how to set expectations with those probing questions and with a structure so you make sure that everyone is on the same page, and then how to make sure the client is happy from day one. So if that's of interest for you guys, what you can do is you can go to this link here, which is bit.ly/book TDFY, and we'll put that in the chat. And in the actual booking section, you can book us, and what we'll do is we'll get on the phone with you this week or early next week, and what we'll do is just show the process, like no strings attached. What we just want to do is help your agency be more systemized, and this was one of those things that took our agency and our onboarding process that helped us make more money. Clients were happier, and we have way less headaches because everyone is on the same page. So if you guys are focused in a handful of niches and really want to scale your business, that we would love to work with you and figure out a way to collaborate.
That is gold, man. Dude, I love that. Dude, I appreciate you being willing to do that for us. And yeah, man, no, that's awesome. I could really see that being a huge benefit here. And yeah, for those of you guys, again, I think more and more as I've talked to you guys, like I'm really recommending you find a good niche, just stick with it, go out there, get your client, 2 clients, 3 clients in that, and then scale it inside of that niche. You really should talk to Nehal about what it'll have to work with him on this, because they'll take you there, guys.
Awesome. So let's jump into Q&A, and what Josh and I were talking about is we dare you to stump us. So please ask the questions that have been bugging you, that you're in bed, you look at your wife, you turn over in your bed, and you're like, man, if I just knew this, my life would be complete. No, not those questions. But what are those questions about Facebook ads that you really want to figure out, that are going to make you more money and is going to make your life better? That's the questions. Those are the questions that we want you to ask us.
Awesome. Hey, I got a first one here that people have kind of voted on in the event on Facebook. But they say, how would you explain to a prospect the benefits of running Facebook ads as opposed to AdWords?
Okay, so there are a few different ways of going about this. The first thing that you want to know is Google Ads working? So you'd be surprised, a lot of people do paid advertising campaigns or marketing campaigns without knowing if it's working. And I got that question from Jay Abraham, because whenever people brag about their marketing and advertising, he's like, does it work? So ask your client, is it working, and how do you know? So the first thing I ask is, cool, how much are you spending? What's your cost per lead? What's your cost per acquisition? What's your margin on that service? And then I figure out if it's actually working for them. And most of the time, they don't know. They're just saying it's working. So first, figure out if it's working. Second, what you can do on Facebook ads is so different than what you can do on Google ads. It really depends on the type of business. So let's just start B2C first. If you're doing B2C, you can do promotions that you can't do effectively on Google ads. And so for B2C campaigns, the focus should be engagement campaigns. How can you engage people through social media posts to get them to take an action, whether it is to like, comment, share, of course, when it comes to the Facebook ad, but also use that social content to get them to take an action that makes your client money. So an example would be when we do different types of campaigns for clients, we ask people to tag their friends who you want to work out with, right? Tag people who you'd love to get your nails done with. Tag friends that you love to go paintballing with. Whatever the case is, you can use that scenario to get people more engaged and get them to tag their friends because they're telling you this is a cool company, check these guys out. So from an engagement standpoint, that's important. Then on Google Ads is query-based, so people are making searches. On Facebook, I can target based off demographic and psychographic data. And what I'm doing there is I can target based off gender, I can target based off age, I can target based off if they like Biggest Loser or P90X or Kim Kardashian. I can target based off the psychographic part of who they are, and you can't do that on Google. And then third, what you want to do is you want to share what is going on from a metric standpoint. So on Facebook, when someone engages in an ad or does any of the actions, you can break down, here are the exact people who click on your ads. Here are the exact people who convert as a lead. You can see people, the exact people who watch your videos on Facebook ads. So if I were to break it down, first, is it working? Two, I can target them demographic and psychographically. And three, here are the metrics that I can track that you can't do on Google Ads. Anything you would add to that, Josh?
Yeah, I was going to take a little bit more just because I mean I was going to say all those things that you just said. That's all smart stuff, and I came up with it first, I think. But no, I would say that the most practical, like a good practical story around this that I've used in the past, and the true story, is that, and you hit on this a little bit, Noel, was that Google Ads are for a break fix. The Facebook PPC is more for building a list, generating interest. We do a lot of stuff that is direct offers, so I don't want to downplay that. But a good kind of parable or story that I tell about this is there was a plumber who was doing emergency plumbing, and so when people's pipes broke in the middle of the night or something happened during the day, what's somebody going to do? Are they going to hope you're going to hope to catch them on Facebook when that happens? No, of course not. They're going to go on Google and they're going to search 24-hour emergency plumber or whatever, and they're going to find this guy. But what we found was this plumber also had a 1995 monthly membership program, which a lot of plumbers are doing now. And so if we on Facebook, if we could get people to onboard on his 1995 week or monthly continuity program, those people are not going to go to any other plumbers when their stuff breaks. They're not going to jump on Google. They're going to go to their guy. And so this is exactly, so we were able to make way more money from a lifetime value standpoint for this plumber than Google Ads would have ever done. And I see it. I'm not against Google Ads, but they're very expensive, and there's a lot of competition, and there's also a very kind of break fix aspect to those. Where when it comes to services and stuff like that, if you can actually build the list proactively, you can do much more for the client at much less of a cost.
And so at that point, Jason's saying, so should we ditch Google AdWords altogether? Definitely no. That's not what we're suggesting here. And the reason for that is if it works for that entrepreneur, it works. And if it works for that business owner and it's creating more business for them overall, you should not come in there and say, hey, Google Ads is not good, or we don't suggest it, or any of that stuff. We sell Google Ads, we sell YouTube ads, we sell Facebook ads, and with the paid advertising, you never want to talk smack about another agency. You never want to talk smack about or talk down another paid platform. What you want to do is talk as professionally and eloquently as you can about the services you're selling and how it's going to help your prospects. Another question we have here is, what is the most important piece of targeting to make sure your Facebook ads are seen by the best potential leads? And of all the different data points when setting up a campaign, which is the most powerful? Do you want to take that, Josh?
I mean, man, that's a great question, and it's really, I mean, I know why you handed that over to me now. No, I mean, it really depends on the situation, and you know, there's when you're creating ads and you're doing your targeting, you have to consider, you know, you have to consider that avatar that you've created with your client. But another thing that we like to think about is, where are some places that these people are going to be aggregating and congregating that's maybe outside of the normal thing? So if we were looking at, I'm trying to think of a really eloquent example here, and I'm afraid I'm going to fall flat, but you know, in the IM space, if anybody is selling stuff to internet marketers, what the go-to targeting is Frank Kern and Ryan Dice. So if you're searching for other marketers, those guys come up. And so a bunch of guys are competing in bids for Frank Kern and Ryan Dice. If you were to get a little bit more creative and go deep and find some other places where the same people who like Frank Kern and Ryan Dice are going, then you're able to actually kind of sneak in under the radar, get your bidding, get your clicks at a bargain price. And I would recommend, I mean, that's not what this call is about, but I would recommend going into Audience Insights and playing around inside of there. It's a little bit of a candy store for guys like me in the hall, but you can go pretty deep, and then also search around in Google. You know, if you're going after plumbers, see what type of associations they're part of, or stuff like that. And so I wish I could give you a more finite answer for that, and it's a great question, but for each campaign it's a bit different, and it's also a little bit of a moving target. So sorry, I mean, hopefully that helped you out a little bit. Nahal, do you have any genius insights on that end?
Genius is a very high expectation, but Zach, like, to answer your question, it's a very difficult question, because it's the answer to that question is a very shitty one, which is it depends. And the reason it depends is because, are you doing a local campaign or are you doing a national campaign? Is the addressable market 5,000 people in a city, 50,000 people, or 500,000 people? How you market to those people are very, very different. Or is it 5 million nationwide? So each one of those markets, you market to them differently. And you know, to give you specific tips when it comes to your Facebook ads, if that's what you're looking for, here's what we do. First thing is, we start all of our campaigns on clicks to website primarily, especially if it's a new ads account. Do that is because there's something called seasoning the pixel. What that means is that Facebook ads, when your pixel is brand new, or when your ad account is brand new, Facebook doesn't know what a conversion is for you. All they know is that you're marketing to a few people. But as more and more people click, they know the type of person that's clicking. As more and more people become leads, they know the type of person that's becoming a lead. And so what happens is Facebook gets smarter on who your actual market is. So what we do in terms of specifically execution stuff, we launch clicks to website ad campaigns, and once those are working and we generate anywhere from 20 to 50 leads, depending on the type of business, sometimes more, but 20 to 50 leads, once we hit, say, 50 leads, we convert that campaign into a conversion campaign. So for any of you guys who don't do Facebook ads, I hope this is not too complicated, but essentially there's different ad objectives. There's clicks to websites, and there's website conversion ads. And so to fix some of your Facebook advertising that is generating leads, but aren't converting at that price, I would highly suggest you make that adjustment and try that. And when it comes to data points in our campaigns, we're looking at only a few metrics. So if you guys want to make a note of this, this is what we do when we customize our columns for reporting. This is really, really critical. So I hope you guys are making notes here. So you can customize columns, and these are the different columns that we customize with. First thing we're looking at is click-through rate, and it's in brackets with all. Okay, so it will say click-through rate and then in bracket all. Then we look at cost per website click, and it's called link CPC. So on Facebook, it's called link CPC. Then we're looking at link clicks, and so we're looking at how many clicks come through. Then we're looking at number of leads. And Dave, we can send this to you. I know Josh has made but we look at number of leads. Then we look at cost per lead. And the cool part is, based off all the different targeting you have, you can see what the cost per lead is per different audience and per age bracket. You can see all these different things. You might have to decrease the font. So cost per lead. Then what we look at overall is we have click-through rate, we have cost per lead. What am I missing here? Oh, relevance score. That's the final one. And we look at that more as just an indicator. The last one, what we look at for larger campaigns is CPM. So CPM is what is my cost for showing this ad to 1,000 people. And what we like to go for is anywhere from $5 to $7, but it just depends on a lot of different things if it's a local campaign or a national one. But the main thing is, whether you use CPM or not, you don't have to use that. The main thing you can look at is click-through rate, cost per website click, number of clicks, number of leads, cost per lead, relevance score, and amount spent. So I hope that helps, Zach. It was a very intense question, so we're trying to give an intense answer. So Josh asks, focus here is on contests. What about campaigns that are non-contests, or do they still crush? Some example of those. So absolutely, we have different types of campaigns. A lot of campaigns that do work are free trial campaigns or discounted front-end offer campaigns. And the reason for those is, depending on the business, you just want them to come in, because once a person comes in physically, the sales and conversion ratio is so high. Josh, if you want to talk about your dental experience, because that is very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, we would do a lot of things around. We were actually working with like orthodontists as well, and so the front end offer, you know, if you look at, like, let's just say a dentist or orthodontist, for a dentist, value might be $1,500 for orthodontist, it's more like $6,000, and so you look at, you know, what you can offer at a front end just to get kind of a butt in the seat. And so we did a lot of stuff around, you know, the standard stuff, free whitening. We would do things like a very low cost, like a $39 initial exam, whitening, and excuse me, and X-rays, to allow people to you know, kind of a loss leader to allow people to come in. And then if the dentist was any good at all, oftentimes they would continue to do business with them. We also did a lot of things. We were looking for people that were moving into the area, so specific direct marketing stuff. And then on the orthodontist side, we had a lot more to work with, and so we would do stuff like giving away a free orthodontic treatment to a person, or you know, it's funny because Nahal just talked about not giving away iPads, but what we would do is we kind of took an interesting kind of spin on it, and we would give an iPad that was updated with their treatment protocols, and so.
Nice.
And so as a way, again, that was nothing for the doctors, and once they got people in, it was great. For chiropractors, we would do free or low-cost massages, but before the massage, people would meet with the doctor just to make sure that there wasn't any issues, you know, issues that would come up during the massage that they should know about. It allows them to get FaceTime with the doctor, and it allows the doctor to discuss some issues that are going on with them, and it opens up the door to that. So there's a lot of again, low-cost front-end offers. You have to be really mindful that you're not becoming a Groupon and just going for freebie seekers and stuff like that. But if you're really mindful about how you set up your ads and mindful about how you deliver the ad or deliver the service, you can start to build your clients. In this case, it was their practices, but if you get really smart, you can start to figure out all of these front-end offers for just about any service-based organization.
And to that point, you want to make sure you have a positive relationship and a vulnerable relationship with your client, because as soon as they become aggressive or you become aggressive, it's not a positive relationship. And here's why. If you're generating leads for this free front-end offer, right, you're going to bring that lead to the client. But if the client only calls the lead once, that's a problem. They'll say, oh, your leads don't work. If the client has people show up, but then they don't actually close them because all their business, it comes from referral, and now they actually have to sell, then they're like, oh, those leads don't buy. It's like, no, you ran your practice for 10 years, for a decade, only off referrals, and now that you're doing marketing, you just have to get comfortable with selling. So there's going to be those scenarios where they're not selling properly and you have to ask the tough questions. But the flip side of that is you might be doing the wrong targeting to get the right client for them. And so it's a partnership. As soon as one person is right or the other person is wrong, that relationship is now skewed, and it's very difficult to mend that relationship when it does go down that path.
Cool. I see a really good question that just came in from Josh. And it's what about having an ad for a lead magnet, i.e., report instead of in service? Any success with that approach? And it's funny because, well, one thing I'd like to say is that Dave, you've got a great audience here. It looks like everybody who started the call is still on the call, which says a lot about the group of guys you work with. And so I'll kind of pull back the kimono a little bit here. I hope that's okay with you, Nahal. But one of the things that we're doing, since this is an intimate group, I'll let you know some of the stuff that's working really well for us as it applies to lead magnets. And when you create a lead magnet, you guys have to promise not to tell anybody else this, but if you create a lead magnet, don't half-ass the creative. Like, really have somebody create a really great image of what they're going to get. With those lead magnets, it's more about people see the thing and they want to get it in their hands. And it's also it's also like the 5 critical questions or the 7 things you must know before you, or whatever it might be. We do a ton of that stuff. But the most, the biggest nugget I can give you around that is when someone signs up for the thing, make sure that you have a back-end autoresponder piece in play, and most importantly, on the thank you page, have a secondary offer on there. And that's really the biggest nugget I can give to you guys, is give away the free thing, but on the thank you page, have a scarcity offer for, I don't know, let me, like an example of it might be for the tire guy. He has for a limited, for the next 72 hours, if you call this number and mention this thing or fill out this form, we'll give you 50% off an oil change, that type of thing. And so there's a lot of opportunity there, but don't just get the lead with a lead magnet and let it stop there. Make sure that you're using automation to convert that into an actual direct offer sale. Does that make sense, guys?
So, yeah, another way of what you're saying, Josh, is like as soon as you collect the lead, ask for a sale, like right away.
Yeah, the tripwire, Chris. Yeah, Chris just hopped in there with the tripwire thing, and that's exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Nahal.
No, perfect. Like, that's exactly what it is. What you're trying to do is get someone from a Facebook ad of never hearing about you, entering their information by expressing some interest, and then immediately seeing an offer, so you can start making your money back from your marketing and advertising campaigns. And a lot of people don't do that. So if you have that in place, and when you have that in place, you can make your clients money back quicker, and that is incredibly powerful, where they'll be happy, you'll be happy, and you can continue spending more money. Another question by Josh. Josh is on fire. So he says that, do you guys have any good experiences with custom audiences and lookalike audiences? So just in case if people don't know what that is, custom audiences are Facebook pixels. So there's code that Facebook gives you that you can put on any page of a marketing funnel. So that code you can put on your landing page, on your thank you page, on your offer pages, any page you want. And so what happens is the way we use custom audiences is that when we're doing ads to a campaign, we put custom audiences or the pixel on the landing page, and we put it on the thank you page. And what we do is two things. One, when we're doing the campaign, we exclude anyone who's already come to that landing page. And the reason is because we don't want that person to see the ad again, because we have a different campaign for that person, and I'll explain. But we exclude anyone who's come to the landing page, so we save money. That's bucket one. Bucket two is people who have come to the landing page but haven't gone to the thank you page or haven't become a lead. So we create these two buckets. People who have seen the ad, I don't want them to see it, and then I want to make sure that the people who have already, who have not become a lead yet, make sure that they see messaging. So that's what custom audiences allow you to do, but it goes further than that. What you can do, especially if it's an established business, they're going to have a client list. And so that client list can include emails or phone numbers. And what you can do with those emails or phone numbers is upload them onto Facebook. And I went to a invite-only event in Toronto where Facebook invited me to their executive level events, and it was super awesome because I learned some really ninja stuff. And one of those things includes that 6,000 people in your custom audience is the point where it's the ideal custom audience. What that means is if you have 6,000 people from your customer list and you create a lookalike audience from that, you're going to get the highest quality lookalike audience. And if you guys don't know what a lookalike audience is, what that simply means is all these people who are part of a list, of your customer list, or became a lead, or even went to a landing page, you can create a lookalike audience, which pretty much means that Facebook takes those groups of people, that group of people, based off their gender, their age, who they like on Facebook, where they're located, all these things, it extrapolates them into 1 million people. Now, you might be thinking, my city or the place that I'm targeting only has 500,000 people or only has 1 million people. How is that going to help my clients? And the reason that's going to help is because it's going to find the most relevant people based off those 500 leads or those 1,000 leads or those 6,000 leads. So the lookalike audiences are incredibly powerful, and what you can do is just market to the lookalike audiences, or what you can do is market to this expanded version, this lookalike audience, but add on different layers. So you can add on layers where I will only want to target this lookalike audience if they are women. That 1 million person audience just became 500,000. I only want to target the people that are women and who are 25 to 54. That audience became smaller. Then I only want to target people who are women, 25 to 54, and like Jenny Craig on Facebook and are part of this lookalike audience. And now you have a very powerful audience that you can market to, but none of that happens if you don't have a customer list or you don't have a bunch of leads that you've generated off Facebook. So Josh, custom audiences and lookalike audiences, using them in that way is really, really powerful.
When you say 6,000, is it at 6,000 they become the best, or like is 7,000 worse than 6,000?
7,000 is only marginally better than 6,000. So what they say is the law of diminishing returns starts at that point, because after that point, it's not that much more beneficial.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Mark asked a question about kind of where to put the Facebook and Google conversion pixels, and so if you mean that technically, Mark, it goes in the header of whatever page you want to put it in, and so if it's an HTML page, you just need to know where to put it in between those header codes on HTML. If it's WordPress, a lot of themes have places for snippets like that, and also if you can download plugins that allow you to put custom HTML snippets inside of WordPress, and then a lot of places like lead pages and ClickFunnels and stuff like that. If you're using those, they definitely have areas where you can just click a button to drop in your code. So I think that's what you meant, but let me know if that didn't answer your question, or if you have an additional question from there.
Hey, how are you guys looking on time here? I don't want to take up all your time, so we can kind of wrap it up if you guys are getting there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good, but I wanted, Nahal and I both said that we wanted to, we wanted to answer as many questions as these guys
Well,
had. But yeah, I mean, I can stick around for a few more if Nahal can.
cool. Nahal?
Yep, can you hear me?
Lost him. He's at the bar. He's gone.
Ah, gosh, you guys are awesome. No, so I don't know. You guys have kind of mentioned this stuff. I don't know if you hit on it. If you did, just let me know. But something I get a question a lot about is, B2B. Like, what do we do with B2B? We have this client who sells services. Like, is it Facebook play? Is it an AdWords play? Is it a LinkedIn play? Like, what is it? Have you guys talked about that yet here tonight?
Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, no, as far as B2B, it's absolutely doable. I saw that there was a question that Jason came in with regarding, IT services, and it's the same type of question. It's, what type of business owner are you looking to get in front of, and where do those business owners congregate? Um, you know, if I'm an internet marketer and I want to get in front of chiropractors, that's a B2B offering. And so, we would search, places where those business owners congregate. If it's local, you can do things like people are interested in chamber of commerce and stuff like that. If it's something that's more specific, like plumbers, if I was selling services to plumbers, I would go to, plumbers associations. I would not target plumbing because that's a very different audience. But it's where would these, are there trade publications, are there trade associations, and that type of thing, and then also just some general stuff around, if it's IT, and I don't know the IT business very well, but I know that a good friend and mentor of ours did IT managed services for a long time, and they were definitely using Facebook ads to get in front of those guys, and there is as you know your niche better than we would. Just consider where those people aggregate and what things they're interested in, and then put equal types of offers in front of them. We've done things like mobile websites and consultations and stuff like that, and in most ways you can figure out something like that would work. Nahal, do you have anything there?
Yeah, something to consider is like what motivates them or what scares them, right? So what's going to motivate them is saving money because in your IT solutions, for the most part, I'm assuming you're not making them money. So if you're saving them money, how can they do that? And if you are making them money, how they can do that? But a lot of the issues with IT services, when it comes to the solution that IT services provides, is having your infrastructure go down on you. And a 1 day of unproductivity for a 50-person staff is worth a lot of money. How much is that worth to them? Figure that number out and use that as a front end on how to save how we saved $42,000 for a local dental dentist or a call center, or however you want to position it based off who your market is most likely to be in that box or in that category. If you led with a case study and said, here is how we save this much money, or here is how we prevented this from happening, that is really powerful because you're leading with something like, man, I've had that happen to me, or I've heard of my friend, my buddy just had that same thing happen to him. So that's something I would consider. And I would consider leading with content because that's a consultative sale and it's a much longer sales cycle.
Yeah, great point.
I don't know if you already answered Trent's question on the country music, Josh.
No, I did not see that one.
Okay, cool. So there's a country music artist that Trent has. He's getting ready to launch his music video. So the Facebook and YouTube thing is huge, whether to share YouTube links or not. YouTube links, Facebook absolutely hates it. So you have to figure out what the benefit of that is. Because if you're doing that just for views, on YouTube specifically to get revenue or anything like that, that's not a good idea. Just from a reach standpoint, just from a Facebook ads for a YouTube video, a Facebook ad for video promotion, it's way better to natively upload that video instead of put a YouTube video. All right. The next question we have here is, what's the ideal range for audience size? Again, that depends for local or national campaigns. Local campaigns, we look for anywhere, depending on the city, anywhere from 10,000 all the way up to 100,000. Like in Toronto, we can get away with 50,000 to 100,000, but in smaller cities, realistically, most of your audiences are going to be 10,000 to 30,000 or 50,000, and each one of those audiences, you can only spend $5 a day. $10 a day. So what we like to do is just separate those audiences and only put $5 a day and get in front of them that way. All right, Mark Williams. All right, so Mark, the funnel that you have is Facebook ad to pre-sale page to product page, but the number of pages that Pixel would go on is actually the pre-sale page, the product page, the add to cart page, the order page, and the confirmation page. So there's a whole sequence there, and there's different adjustments to that Facebook pixel you would have to make for each one of those pages. And then what you can do on the Facebook ad reporting is see each audience and each ad set, how deep they go into the funnel. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, with Shopify, that's like a whole multi-part mastermind right there to set up all that stuff, because there is kind of their liquid their liquid language that they use inside of Shopify, but then there's also some really smart guys that have created these multi-part using Tag Manager and some other stuff to actually really be able to manage and do kind of dynamic retargeting and stuff like that. So I don't want to scare the heck out of you or make your head explode, but you can do it a really simple way, like what most people do is just kind of set it up on the pre-sale page and the product page and the checkout page. But there's some really interesting high-level stuff you can do in there as well. But yeah, it's that type of stuff that makes engineers go crazy. So, but anything is better than nothing when it comes to e-commerce and when it comes to Shopify stuff, to be able to put your messages back in front of those guys.
So I know we're getting really tight on time. If you can go back to slide 37, and if we can just put our names in right under the link. If people want to reach out to us, both Josh and I are very approachable, happy to answer any questions you guys have. With Facebook ads, there's so many nuances, and we'll do our best to answer them for you, and we'll jump in the group as well, Dave, and answer any questions that were missed the call, or if they have any questions beyond this call. So those are our names, very easy to find. That's definitely hit us up. And for agencies that are looking to scale in a handful of markets, we'd love to speak with you, whether we end up working together or not. Onboarding systems and processes have been the difference between successful and happy client relationships versus disastrous ones. So we're happy to sit down with you and explain all of that to you to the best of our ability.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys, and thanks so much for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, this has been sweet, guys. Really enjoyed it. Hopefully, I know we didn't get like everyone's questions. We could probably sit here for like the next 2 days. I know I've got a lot of questions too.
You don't want to do that?
Yeah, dude, I would do it. I'm going to be sitting at this computer for the next 2 days anyway. So yeah, no, guys, we're again loved having you guys on. Hopefully, this is like super beneficial for all you guys that are listening. And yeah, let's do this again here.
Love it. Right. Thank you so much, guys. Hope everyone has a great night.
Thanks. Good night, guys.
All right. Take care, guys. Now I'll try to figure out how to turn off this webinar.
There you go. See you guys. I got you.
See you guys.